Hi, art teacher here with you again, and this time we're moving into a whole new series of videos about relief prints, and that's a printmaking technique. And you are probably kind of familiar with the most basic form of relief prints, and that is just like a stamp like this. The idea is little parts of it stick up, and that's where the ink goes, and then some parts of it are set back in further, and that's the part that stays white. So if, like I have this little stamp here, you put ink on it like that, then push it down, and I'll do a couple of these. You push it down and it leaves that little impression. That's a very simple elementary form of relief print. Oh, by the way, do your subscriptions and leave a comment below down there if I'm unclear about anything, all that regular stuff. So, printmaking, that's where we're going. So this is going to be a many-part series, and I want to talk about mostly this idea of lino cut prints. I know that this L-I-N-O is derived from the word linoleum, so the pronunciation is actually rather quirky, but they pronounce it lino cut. As you probably know, linoleum is that stuff they use when they have tiles, certain tiles on the floor and stuff like that. Well, we use linoleum mounted on a block. You can get unmounted linoleum also, mounted on a block. You cut out parts of it to make like a giant stamp. Then you take one of these rollers called a brayer, get ink on it, put the ink on the block, then you put paper on it and use this called a baren to push it down, then pull it up, and you end up with a print there. Maybe this would be an example of what the print might look like. So that's the basic idea behind these sorts of relief prints. Now, in order for us to get going on this, we need to try to get a hold of some supplies. So in order for you to have success with this, let's go through a list of supplies that you will probably be needing if you're going to be following along. Now, I strongly encourage you to get these and follow along with these videos, because for me at least, this is one of the most fun art activities, are these relief prints. They're a blast. So here's just a quick list. You can pause this and look at it. Black ink. We're going to stick right now with black and white. Later we might do two color prints, but we'll see. Right now, black ink. Well, there are different brands of ink. This is what I like. This is that Daniel Smith water soluble black ink, lamp black. And that's available at the online retailer. And I don't like to really promote specific brands, but in this case, this ink seems to work for me much better than that Speedball ink, though I like many of the other Speedball products for ink. I definitely stick to the Daniel Smith ink, water soluble. Don't go to oil-based ink until you've had a lot of experience with it. That's what I would suggest. You know, water soluble cleans up a lot easier. A brayer. The brayer is one of these things that has a little roller on it. Here I have different brayers. I have 3 different brayers here for an example. Now these brayers, what you do with these is you put ink on your glass, roll it out to get the ink onto the brayer, then roll the ink onto the block. This is going to be a very important one. You definitely need a brayer. You don't really need one like this, but if you wanted an awesome one, this would be an example of a very good brayer for larger prints, and that's going to be more expensive. You can get a little Speedball brayer like this, and you'd be surprised how well that works. This has been a really trusty brayer over the years for me, and it's just a simple one of the least expensive ones you can get. It's funny, sometimes the less expensive stuff works just as good, although I shouldn't say it works just as good because this is a terrific brayer. And then I have this one, and this has a very hard rubber on it, and I haven't really had much success with that. I thought I'd try it for an experiment that didn't really work, so maybe if you're just starting off, stick with one of these Speedball brayers. You're going to need paper. So you can use just this regular old copy paper or printer paper that I talk about all the time. This paper will work, and it actually produces really good prints, but you know, it doesn't last very long. It's not archival. It has acid in it, which means it yellows and crumples and so forth. So this is good for doing a practice or proof print. But so you want to use that just for your proof prints, or you could do a regular print on those or a series. Here are two papers that I think are good introduction papers to printmaking. Stonehenge, just like the monument in England, right? And Masa. This Masa is a Japanese paper, and there are a wide variety of Japanese printmaking papers, but that's a nice, inexpensive entry-level one that I've had success with. Also, that Stonehenge is really good. So I'm going to talk a lot more about paper. I'll probably do a video on just paper. Cutters. Well, there are a lot of different cutters you can use. For the beginning, just starting off, I'd say I have this little Speedball product here. I keep two of them, and what I do is, here's a cool thing. You put the blades right inside of it like that, and it unscrews. Now, usually you can buy the kit that comes with 6 different blades. That's a good one to get. The one I use most often is this flat blade one, but I don't think that's typical. Most artists who do these prints use a small gouge like that, but there are, it comes with, again, 6 of these with various sizes of gouges, and that flat blade one. That flat blade one, for me at least, being the most important and useful of the blades that you can get. So I keep 2 of them. One I keep the flat blade in, the other one I keep a gouge in, and I use those. You can just get by with 1, but I would say get the 6 blades though. So those are the cutters. And you'd be surprised that, once again, this Speedball have come out with these cutters that are very, they're pretty inexpensive. And gosh, they really work well, just like that Brayer really works well. Glass. Well, that's where you roll your ink out onto, and you could just use an old picture frame. I have a big old picture frame here. You could use a smaller one. The idea is you squeeze your ink out onto here, then you take your Brayer, and that's how you get the ink onto the Brayer, by rolling it out like that. And that works pretty well. Then you take the ink that's on your Brayer, and put it on your block. But be sure to have a glass. You can just use an old picture frame that has glass on it. I've had great luck with that. And then the lino-blocks, or mounted linoleum onto a wood block. Again, I use a Speedball product, and you can get them at any online retailer or probably any craft store that's near you. And it's just a block like this. This is a 4-inch by 6-inch block. You can get all different sizes. This one's a little bigger. You can see that's 6 by 8. And they have this golden kind and this battleship gray kind. I prefer the golden kind. To me, it cuts much better, but it's a matter of preference. Since we're not using a large printing press, I sure wish I had one. I don't have one. Maybe someday I'll get one. But since we're not using a printing press, we prefer to use these blocks in our lessons. If you have a printing press, then you use unmounted linoleum. It's the linoleum without the wood. And those will work good if you have a press. These won't work as well with most presses. Some presses you can use those. Whew. Okay, those are the supplies. Now, I want to do a video about how to design one of these prints, how to come up with the picture and the design. So that'll be a whole video. I could talk about just that. And then how to take your design, for instance, here what I have is a drawing I made, 4" by 6". Anything I draw in here will show up opposite on the print. So I draw it out, then I tape it to the block like this, okay? Tape it on there, then just color with pencil all over, and that transfers the picture onto here. Anyway, that'll be a process that I'm going to show you about later. So my next video will be how to design the picture for a lino cut print. Some design ideas that work well. After that design video, I'm going to talk about transferring your drawing onto the block. So as you can see, I want to do a separate video for sort of each step of the way. That'll give you enough time to start collecting up all your supplies. The ones you absolutely need, really need for these lessons. The block, the brayer, the cutter with blades. I would say get the 6 blades. An optional one would be the baren. Now this is helpful because this is what you use when you get your block, put your paper on top of your block. This helps you push down on top of it. You can use a wooden spoon instead of this, but this little product has been helpful. The problem is it's more expensive than you think it should be from the look of it. So unlike these other Speedball items, this one's probably a little overpriced. That's my opinion. Again, I don't like to go too much into specific brands, but I'd like you to get the Daniel Smith water-soluble ink. You want to have success with these prints also. So, we're in for a big adventure. I really strongly encourage you to really get into this, get these items. It's going to be a little investment of the money, but if you get these items, you'll have them the rest of your life. You'll have that brayer the rest of your life, your cutters. Your blades get dull, but you'll have the cutters the rest of your life. That ink lasts a long time. So, all this stuff, you'll have them for a long time. And again, I like to stick with the golden or yellow linoleum instead of the battleship gray. Okay, hope that gets you started, and we're going to really have fun with this one. This will be a nice set of lessons. Okay, you take care. Bye-bye.